Get out of here, you useless middle school graduate. The company party was held at a luxury hotel in New York. Robert Williams, a new employee, poured iced coffee over my head and said that. Everyone around turned pale, and the vice president rushed over in a panic. "Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?" "What? Did I do something wrong?" Robert, not showing any remorse, just laughed, but the smile vanished immediately after the vice president spoke. "My name is James Smith, and I'm 45 years old. I've been working at a branch of an IT consulting company for the past 3 months. This company has grown by adapting to the times. Several times the company was renamed 12 years ago, but even before that, it had been navigating the waves of the IT era. With this history, the company has major influence among consulting firms, and the system developed by the headquarters research team boasts the top share in the industry. 5 years ago, we expanded our business overseas and succeeded. Thanks to this, we were featured in famous international economic magazines. Domestically, we are always ranked among the top IT companies where new graduates want to work. We actively hire young people who are motivated, even if they lack experience, and provide thorough training. The average age of our employees is 32. Of course, we also offer generous benefits, including parental leave, creating an environment where employees can work without worries even after getting married and having children. Thanks to these policies, we maintain a low turnover rate in an industry known for high employee turnover. I came to the sales department of this company's branch in Kentucky. Although it is the farthest branch from the New York headquarters, it is lively, possibly due to the nature of the area, with many energetic people. At 45, I'm the second oldest in the sales department after the manager, but just being here makes me feel younger. However, there's one thing that concerns me: Robert Williams, a 24-year-old new employee. He is an elite graduate from a prestigious university and the vice president's son. He passed the entrance exam with top scores and didn't get in through connections, but he has problems beyond his grades. "Hey, old man, get this done and these too." Robert pushes all sorts of tasks onto me with language that is more rude than familiar. If I refuse, he looks at me with disdain and says awful things. I don't know why a 45-year-old middle school graduate is at this company, but if you are here, at least work for those of us who are competent. If you get fired, you'll end up on the streets, right? Your family would be devastated. As he says, I have a wife, Mary, who is 10 years younger, and 2 sons. Both kids still need a lot of care, so I can't afford to end up on the streets. Understood, I decided to work for the benefit of those with abilities, just as Robert suggested. Robert didn't just look down on me. He did the same to his fellow colleagues. He especially treated those from universities ranked lower than his own with disdain. It's a miracle you got into this company with that kind of degree, a real miracle. I've seen some of his colleagues trembling with anger, while Robert laughed and made such remarks. He also didn't seem to be satisfied working at the branch office. I passed the entrance exam at the top, so why am I stuck at a branch? Working anywhere but the headquarters is pointless. It's good to have ambitions to make a name for yourself at the headquarters, but belittling branch work is arrogant. Moreover, it's standard practice for new employees to spend their first year at a branch office, and he should have been informed of this when he joined the company. If you achieve good results at the branch, you might be able to move to the headquarters next year. In fact, there have been cases where people were transferred to the headquarters in just 6 months. When I said this, Robert sneered, "Well, you old man will never make it to the headquarters. You'll spend your days doing chores here until the end. If I make it to the headquarters and become an executive, I'll fire you immediately. Be prepared for that." Despite being new to the company, Robert was already talking about becoming an executive at the headquarters. Everyone around looked at Robert with expressions of disbelief. However, since he was the vice president's son, the manager turned a blind eye, and no one dared to confront Robert. Amidst this, the annual company party for new employees was scheduled. This event has been held without fail since the company's inception. New employees from various regions travel to the headquarters, tour the office, and then attend a buffet party at a luxury hotel in New York. It makes sense for us to go to the party, but why are you coming, old man? Just stay at the branch and do chores, Robert said to me on the bullet train to New York as I casually mingled with the younger employees. The sales manager asked me to accompany you. Plus, I'm here to help guide you to the headquarters. A guide? You've never been to the headquarters, old man. Actually, I was at the headquarters before coming to the branch. When I said this, Robert was surprised. What? The headquarters has chores too. I was used to Robert's sarcasm and replied with a smile. Well, I know the headquarters well, so you all can go ahead with the tour. I'll meet you at the dinner later. What? You're coming to the dinner too? How shameless. Ignoring Robert's jabs, I left the scene. Later that night, we reunited at the luxury hotel. I had some errands to run, so I arrived at the venue about 30 minutes late. The party had already started with plenty of food and drinks, and everyone was holding glasses, making the event lively. By the way, the company party is a standing buffet to break down barriers between bosses and subordinates. If it were held at a formal place like a traditional restaurant, the younger employees would get 2 tenths. The purpose of this event is to help the newcomers get accustomed to the company culture. The company hopes that both new and old employees will work together, creating a unified company. Oh, great, you are here, old man, Robert said when he saw me. Even though it hadn't been that long since the party started, his face was already red and his speech was slightly slurred. Seeing him like this made me laugh. Robert, are you okay? Your face is as red as if you've been drinking alone. I didn't mean to mock him, but Robert seemed to take offense at my words. He glared at me, then grabbed a glass of someone's half-finished iced coffee from the table and threw it at me. The cold coffee drenched me, waking me up as if I hadn't slept. Get out of here, you useless middle school graduate. With a mix of anger and contempt in his eyes, Robert looked at me and said, Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing? The vice president, having witnessed the scene, rushed over. Looking around, I saw the executives were pale and the other new employees were frozen in shock. I wanted to make sure this old man by the window never laughs at me again. Dad, you fool, do you even know who this man is? The vice president scolded his son in a flustered manner. I don't know his name, but he's just some old guy who got kicked out from the headquarters to the branch. They probably didn't need him at the headquarters anymore. Shut up. Don't say another word. What? Did I do something wrong? I sighed deeply as I watched this unfold. Throwing coffee on someone is never a good act, no matter who the person is. That man is the president of our company. Don't you even know what he looks like? What? Robert, still unable to grasp the reality, looked at me half laughing. I'm so sorry, Mr. President. This guy was really rude. Someone bring a towel. A hotel employee quickly brought a few towels, and I started wiping the coffee off myself. Thanks to my water-repellent suit and shirt, the damage wasn't too bad, but the coffee that got inside my collar had soaked my undershirt, making me uncomfortable. Pouring coffee on my head like that is just cruel. At least pour it from the front next time so I can block it completely, I joked, trying to lighten the mood, but the vice president got even angrier at Robert. What are you standing there for? Get on your knees and apologize right now. You've done something terrible to the president. If this were a different time, you'd have been beheaded on the spot. The vice president, Michael Williams, who loved historical dramas, shouted, Hey now, don't say such violent things, Michael, even if it were a different time. I wouldn't just behead an employee. Robert's face finally started to turn pale as he realized the situation. What? Really? The president? That's what I've been saying. He is the founder of this company and a mentor to me since college. You've only been able to grow this much thanks to him. But isn't he a middle school graduate? He said so himself during the introduction that he only went to middle school. Everyone froze. Looking around, no one could meet my eyes. You remembered that I'm a middle school graduate, but not my name. Well, let me introduce myself again. My name is James Smith, 45 years old, a school dropout, and the president of this company. No way, so you've been lying all this time? Robert looked stunned. Hiding my identity and working at the branch might have been sneaky, but I didn't lie. I just withheld some information. I wanted to see the true nature of our new employees. I needed to understand them better. Every year, when new young employees joined the company, I would quietly work at a branch to get to know them better. Of course, I usually reveal my identity soon, but Robert's reaction was so unique that I couldn't disclose the truth right away. I was thrilled to hear that Michael's son was joining the company, and on top of that, you are smart. Aced the entrance exam. Clearly inherited your intelligence from your father. I'm sorry, it seems I failed in raising him. I spoiled my only son, but I never thought he would do something this foolish. Michael's face showed a mix of regret and sorrow. Both of us have aged, but it's clear that having a family has changed him. Michael and I met on the campus of a well-known university. Of course, I wasn't a student there. I was drifting around doing odd jobs. I used to sneak into university lectures for fun and sometimes argue with the professors. Back then, security wasn't as tight, so it was easy to blend in with students. It was during one of these lectures that I met Michael. The lecture was about the future of business management, I think, but I don't remember well. I just remember having doubts about the professor's talk and pointing that out. When the lecture ended and I left the hall pretending to be a student, someone called out to me from behind. I thought I had been caught for not being a student, so I quickly tried to escape. Wait, your comments to the professor were intriguing. Please, I'd like to hear more from you. Hearing that, I stopped and turned around. I saw a well-dressed young man who looked intelligent and seemed to come from a good background. I felt embarrassed sitting there in my worn-out shirt and shabby jeans. Thank you for stopping. My name is Michael Williams. I hadn't seen you before. Are you a student from another department? He asked with an innocent smile. Looking at his face, I realized he was the complete opposite of me. He must have been cherished by his parents and teachers, unlike me, who rebelled against my high school teachers and got expelled, leading my parents to abandon me. Department. You could say I'm in the free department. I answered nonchalantly, and he looked at me curiously, letting out a big sigh. His eyes behind the glasses reflected his straightforward, good personality. Free department. I don't think we have such a department. He answered my joke with a serious face, which piqued my interest. From then on, we started meeting outside of school as well. Talking with Michael was more enjoyable than with any friends I had made before. Though he was 2 years younger, he was more mature than me, more grounded. Despite being the son of a company president, he had a goal to become independent and start his own business. It would be safer and easier to take over your dad's company, I said, but Michael shook his head. If I surpass my father, I need to become independent. Until then, I had never thought about surpassing the adults around me, even though I constantly rebelled against them. Talking with Michael made me realize that I was just sulking against adults without truly facing them. I thought it was amazing how you were fighting alone. That's why I approached you. And now, after talking to you, I still think you're a cool person. That's not true. You just find me unusual because our backgrounds are so different. I don't have dreams or goals like you and are not smart. Sorry if I gave you the wrong impression. I spoke while turning my back to Michael. That's not true. Why won't you recognize your own worth? You think I don't recognize myself? Yes, your ideals are so high that you're losing sight of yourself. Without these words, I wouldn't be who I am today. If Michael hadn't said that, I wouldn't have realized I had high ideals and would have wasted my life. Will you join me in starting a company right now, James? I need your help. I can't do this alone." His sudden proposal shocked me. Though he had mentioned wanting to start a business, it seemed too sudden. Michael was still a student, and I wasn't even that. "Will you join me in starting a company right now, James? I need your help. I can't do this alone." "But my girlfriend is pregnant." When I told my parents, they refused to accept it and said they'd disown me if I didn't break up with her. "But I can't do that. I can't let our child face such a cruel fate." I was stunned by his unexpected confession. "You've been busy, haven't you?" I was at a loss for words. I couldn't believe that the clean-cut Michael had gotten himself into such a situation. There was no way I could refuse to help Michael, who had no way out. We decided to focus on online sales, which was still a niche market back then, and launched an e-commerce site. Our first office was in my small one-room apartment. "Since this is your place, you should be the president," Michael said, and I have been sitting in the president's chair ever since. Even now, as we have our headquarters in a prime location in New York City. "I've known you since you were a little boy. You might not remember, but I played with building blocks with you and picked you up when you fell. I don't mean to boast, but I'd appreciate a bit of recognition." Robert, who had sobered up, looked pale. "Don't worry about what you did to me. I won't hold it against you. I admit there was a part of me that found it amusing to see you call me a high school dropout." I looked at Robert with a mischievous expression. He kept his gaze on the floor, saying nothing. "The reason the president, without a high school diploma, was here is that he was too smart for his teachers. He was a victim of the unfortunate tradition of suppressing those who stand out, but he had much more foresight than I did. And Robert, you might not have been born if things had been different. I was shocked when I found out that Michael, who I thought was so pure, had a child, but it was that shock that made me determined to succeed. Your existence became the catalyst for this company, and that's the truth." From my position, I couldn't see Robert's expression. I had no idea what he was thinking or feeling. But he's Michael's son. I couldn't give up on him. "Apologize properly right now, Robert. There's no need to make him apologize in front of everyone. As long as he works diligently from now on, that's enough." "No, that won't do. Robert needs to apologize now, or he'll never learn." It was just like back then. Michael truly cared about his family. He wanted to take responsibility. Then Robert, who had been silently looking down, suddenly dropped to his knees. Was he really going to do a full prostration? I rushed over to him. "If you prostrate yourself here, it will make me look bad. If any footage of this gets on social media, it would damage the company's image." Before I could finish, Robert vomited and collapsed. Even as I got hit directly, I caught Robert as he collapsed. My suit was a disaster, and the scene turned chaotic. "Someone get a towel, now." Michael's voice echoed, and a few staff and executives ran over with towels. "I'm sorry, James," Michael said in a small voice. It was a nostalgic sound. Since I became the president, he'd always called me by my title, never by my name, to respect my position. This formality sometimes made me feel distant from him. "Don't worry about it, and I don't think you raised him wrong. He'll be okay." As I said, Robert's attitude changed the next day, but I didn't expect a person to change completely overnight. People's hearts don't work like systems. Just because he knew who I really was didn't mean everything would change immediately. If you saw me as an old man by the window, that's a fact. If that's how I appeared, then I also share the blame. So work hard and come up to the headquarters, Robert. He looked back at me with a puzzled expression. "If you think you deserve to be the president more than I do, then come and take the seat." He then responded quietly, "I apologize for all my disrespectful behavior. I got carried away. But don't forget, you told me to come for the president's chair." I extended my hand to him. We shook hands, and I returned to the president's office at the headquarters. It goes without saying that Robert Williams grew tremendously after that. A year later, he was transferred to the headquarters, where he demonstrated his capabilities. His name became well known within the company. Lately, I've been thinking that Robert is more like me than you. Sometimes I even wonder if he might be my child, I said to Michael. He laughed and replied, "There's a saying that children are better off not resembling their parents. Stop talking nonsense and get married already." Don't sound like my parent. I'm married to the company. From the headquarters building, I had a panoramic view of New York City. I often wondered what it would feel like to pass this view to the next generation. As I pondered the future, I continued to sit